Producing multiple podcast episodes a week sounds difficult enough, but my guest today produces multiple per day, totaling over 2,000 interview episodes. Khudania Ajay joins me on this episode to share what he's learnt from his journalism career, to provide a framework for asking intriguing questions, creating interview content that stands out, and building trust with your listener so they keep listening. And in this episode, you'll discover what traditional journalism can teach us about producing compelling interview episodes, how AJ manages to produce multiple episodes a day for two separate podcasts, and how he's grown his podcast to the top 1.5%, how to ensure your listeners are getting the most value possible, tactics to speed up your podcasting workflow, and much more. So if you want to improve your podcasting skills, particularly if you ever host guests, this is essential listening. You've had 2,000 plus conversations. You're releasing multiple episodes a day of the KAJ Masterclass live, and even to some podcasters, even multiple episodes per week would be quite impressive. But how do you manage to keep up with that cadence of content? I mean, just yesterday I saw that you released 3 episodes, I think. How do you manage to produce that much and get it all out there?
Absolutely. Thank you for this question. And yesterday, yes, 3 episodes on the KAJ Masterclass live and 3 episodes on the author's voice with KAJ. That's a separate platform that we have to give more, voice, more strength to the authors who are coming on the KAJ Masterclass live. But that time we are not able to discuss the book on the author's voice with KAJ. There we are taking about. Now, in terms of, in terms of the number of shows every day, I come from a journalism background. I look at shows much differently than what a normal person would be. If you create barriers that I am recording a show and there will be 1 show, 2 shows, 3 shows, then it will create that thing in your mind. But coming from a journalism background, journalists work very hard. I come from the traditional journalism background. People used to work very hard. You work out 8 to 10 hours a day, more than that. You go from your house to the office on a bus, then you go from there. If you are a print journalist, you go to different places, do interviews, again use the bus, several interviews a day, and that is, you see, every day it needs so many hours of hard work. And if you are a television journalist, also it is very hard work. Either you are a junior journalist or a senior journalist. If you compare it from that perspective, Joe, this life is easy. You have a studio on your laptop and you can talk to people who are experts. All you have to do is to ensure that you are, giving that flow to everything, keeping that, chiseling it, fine-tuning it. And once you start looking at it from that point of view, isn't it? Here you can decide your flow, you can decide your schedule anytime. If you were a journalist, you would not had that luxury. It will be upon the editors. The news will decide on where you will run next during the day. And if I look at it from that perspective, and even today, you see a lot of very good journalists, very senior journalists still work so many hours a day, very hard work. So from that perspective, when I see it, it means, one interview means you are not wasting time before and after that. And that the important part is that how do you prepare for it quickly? How do you present it quickly? How do you bring that value to the guest? Make sure that they are getting what they are coming there for. And obviously without compromising anything from the audience. And that is where, obviously it is not an easy thing. I wouldn't say it is an easy thing. But it is all the perspective that matters, Joe. And that is what keeps me going in that sense. And that is where it led to. I did not think that I will do so many shows. It just happened, And as long as I enjoy, I do. If the day I don't enjoy, then I don't do. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, it sounds like it's quite a different perspective coming from your journalism background. Would you say that that's made a big difference in just generally how you run the show? And yeah, I mean, you've got 2 podcasts. So on top of this one, doing 3 episodes a day, it's like a huge amount of content. And would you say that sheer amount of content has helped the podcast grow to what is now in the top 1.5% of podcasts?
That is one of the things. I don't know whether the podcast has, grown, and it will. For me, it is a bonus. what as a podcaster,
Hmm.
and for every podcaster, I would say is that whether they have got one episode or 10 episodes or 20 episodes or 200 episodes, the most important thing is whether the podcast grows less or more. You grow as a individual, you grow as a professional, you grow as a podcaster, and that is the most important thing. Tomorrow it might be something else, you may want to do, but whatever your learnings as a podcaster will be, it will be as a very skill in itself. It will chisel you as a person. It will create a personality, and this podcast will create an identity for you online, for which a lot of people want to do. A lot of professionals want to do. A lot of experts want to do. That is why they come onto their podcast. You get it as the biggest thing just by doing a podcast on yourself. That is the biggest thing I would say is the growth factor. I would want to people to look at it from that point of view. Rest, some podcasts will grow very big, some podcasts will grow less. In my case, I would look at it from that point of view. When I started it first day itself from video podcasting. You see, everything was on video. Audio was an addition. Spotify came on with video later on, so it's now going in video. Other places also. So I would want to people, especially from my perspective, if you start looking at it from that point of view, it will become a very fascinating journey. You will see that podcast is growing or not, but you are certainly growing, and it will start. It will keep you in good state at whatever stage of life you are. It will be always there. When nothing else will be there, this will be with you. The skill sets will be there.
Yeah, I love that because generally the metrics that podcasters will keep in their mind are the downloads, how many clients they're getting through the podcast, but that personal growth metric is often missed. And for you, who's had a lot of experience in journalism and other aspects of business and things, how has podcasting then helped with your personal growth? What skills has it boosted for you since you started?
Absolutely, absolutely. So journalism, I was not in front of the camera. I was behind the camera, and I used to watch everything. I know about news. I know how it works. So for me, when the medium of podcasting was growing, I could sense that this is one thing I can certainly uh, use for saying things or doing things or talking to people, which was not possible, in a mainstream journalism. It has its own ways of doing things, constraints, if you want to use that word, and because you bring
Mm.
people with more authority, very little chance of, doing larger shows, bigger shows in this sort of a thing. It had its own limitations. News cycle works differently. So when this sort of a thing came out, in 2022, I started with, some recorded podcasts and all that, some few audio podcasts and all, and I was watching everything. So from that point of view, you see, I thought, why not utilize the understanding of journalism to bring that value, that all editorial integrity into podcasting, the balance, the objectivity along with that, but in a different format. So that brings out a good blend, so that people trust your show, and then they start learning from that show. Now everyone wants to learn from anywhere that they get. Yesterday it was they were searching for videos on YouTube. Now they will search for answers on all these AI tools, ChatGPT, Claude, and all these things. They will throw answers. And sometime later, you will see that all these podcasts that you are doing, their results, their expertise, guests' expertise, they will reflect in different searches all across everywhere. And this is where the whole concept was to make, educate people through. You are not an expert of everything, but you can certainly bring a lot of experts onto your platform, spread that message, and leave it to it's like a bouquet of flower. You leave it in the open for anyone to have a look, enjoy it, and feel good about it all. Education is like that. Knowledge is like that. That is my biggest gainer for me. And you see, it's like if fragrance is there, nobody is untouched by that. And since I am closest to the fragrance, I'm the biggest gainer in that sense, if you see it.
Yeah. Without going down too much of a tangent on this, but how do you see sort of journalism and news consumption evolving now that podcasting is a big thing? Do you see a lot of people consuming news via podcasts at the expense of sort of traditional mediums like newspapers, news, TV?
Yes and no, both. Mainstream media people still go to. So as long as mainstream media is there, people will continue to look for places where these are authoritative places, that these people will at least tell me the facts till the time something has happened. Okay, this has happened, this is what it is. Even on social media or YouTube or any of these platforms, podcasts, if that happens, people, there are many platforms coming on, people will watch it. Now the thing comes on opinion. In mainstream media, a lot of people think, these opinions are a bit more, one sided. This is much more, from one place or the other. There are people who are telling them to take a particular line. So people have their
Yeah,
own opinion
bias.
about that. But you see, in places like Substack, in places which is going video, audio, and other places also on podcasts, that opinion is much more sought of. People want to see, okay, this is the person I trust. I will not only take their views about news, but I will also take the opinion about it. People want to help them understand about things, and if they trust, they will go for. That is why you see, even on Substack, a lot of political writers, a lot of political newsletters have come in, and people have started subscribing. People want to use, because politics or anything happening, any news happening, it not only impacts your understanding of events, it also impacts your investment decisions, your business decisions everywhere. Earlier, I come from news agency background. People used to buy those Reuters terminals, Bloomberg terminals to understand news. That is happening even still. But other places also are opening up. This is good. This is democratization of everything. But the gatekeepers have to be strong. You have to ensure that everyone who is spreading this, you make sure that you are taking or consuming things from the right places. That integrity, objectivity, balance, and accuracy has to be maintained. And viewers want that. They are smart. They will know today or tomorrow. You can't, fool them.
Yeah, well, I've seen headlines in the last few months around how sort of podcasting helped win the election and things like that. And you see a lot of podcasters kind of using those mainstream media tactics, like sort of breaking news style presentations. Like I know Diary of a CEO in the UK, they do these sort of breaking news debates, and recently they've become really popular. Like, is AI going to take our jobs and all these things. So do you see that as well, like those mainstream media sort of strategies being used in podcasting more, or maybe I'm just noticing it more recently?
Yeah, see, viewers want authentic uh, communication from the other side, authenticity. And along with that, they have been attuned to, now that whole gamut of, fast paced news, the way it has been presented. I would not say everybody would crave for it, but if there is a bit of variety, the way presentation is a bit more, better for them to consume, so that their attention is very much there, it has to be in a certain, that is good. But it does not mean that if you do not have that, a lot of embellishments in what you are doing, that is also okay. The biggest thing is, I guess authenticity will play a big role. Even if you have a very static camera on you and you are a trustworthy person who can be trusted, that is where people are going for subscriptions rather than platforms which are dependent on advertisement. That's why people are going for Substack or any other place. Even in my platform, see, I don't have any sponsorship in that sense. And the day I get it, I will tell it at the, in bold letters that this is a sponsored thing or an interview. So that has to be, as long as you are authentic about what you are doing, what you are saying. If you belong to a political group, then you tell them. People will understand that what you are saying through that disclaimer. But if I say something and if I do not give a disclaimer and I have secretly tied up with someone else, that is unfair and the viewers will come to know. That is, I think, most of the journalists or anyone else do not do it. Some people do it. If they do it, then people will come to know about it.
And I think some podcasters don't realize quite how much sort of influence they have over their listeners in terms of like trust and things. Because I mean, a lot of people I talk to, especially when they're just starting out, they are in that mindset that, oh, no one wants to hear what I have to say. They'd just sort of go and find another podcast. But you don't see that sort of the way that your followers know, like, and trust you, even if you're only sort of getting, a few dozen listeners. That connection, once they start to trust you, it can be very powerful. So that authenticity is very important.
Absolutely. You should consider that as blessings from God, that people are trusting you. Nobody else trusts you. How many people will trust you in real life if you are not behaving properly? And if those people who do not know you, they trust you for what you do. So better do that properly in the best way. That is, that can keep their trust there. The bad apples will always be there throwing and whatever at you, but be true to them, be true to yourself. And that will, see, it is also imperative as a professional also. This will help you rise. You can make it a full-time work for you. It will help you get much more work outside. People will call you for speaking assignments. You see, for so many things, Joe, you just don't know what you have got. Understand what you have got. Even 10 people are following you and they trust you. That's a blessing from directly from God itself. Look at it from that way. Look at it from that way. That's all I can say, Joe.
One of our clients recently got a sponsor from a company that's basically paying them to put ads in their show. I think podcasters often, they're a bit concerned. Like, if I start putting an ad in the show now and people can see that I'm making money, they might switch off or think that I'm selling out or something like that. But for this particular podcaster, like, he'd built so much trust over the last 200 odd episodes with his audience and given so much away for free that I think at that point, as long as you're authentic and honest about it, your listeners will even be happy for you that you've managed to get a sponsor. They're not gonna, if you're authentic, they're not gonna be, oh no, he's selling out, I'm gonna stop listening or whatever. It's all about that relationship you've built before then.
Absolutely. See, I would look at it from much more positively here, Joe. See, viewers like you. They like what you do, and they also want you to succeed. They also know that podcasting does not bring money anywhere. And it is not, the viewers will try to help you. In my case, some guests do support me, but sponsorship is not there. So if you are bringing a sponsors or sponsor, whatever it is, viewers will be very, very understanding of that. Do not be afraid of that. But declare it, and sponsorship is clearly known. So tell them, they will know about it. Do not try to sell your editorial content as advertorial, but you're not declaring about it. That is wrong. That is your viewer, when your viewer will understand and leave you. Don't do that. As long as you are running and even in sponsorship, make sure that it aligns with your show, with your values, and only bring that. That will be very much good. Your supporters will be with you. You can tell your supporters, I'm looking for sponsors. If anyone knows anyone, let them come in. Just be mindful of fact that it is not just about you. It's about the platform. It's about the viewers. That's it. Earning money is not. Where will you earn money, Joe? You need to get your bread and butter. Especially if you are a full-time podcaster, even if you are a part-time podcaster, tomorrow you may want to make it full-time. And see, the whole ecosystem is not supporting podcasters in that ways. The problem is that you see, as I said, guests, some of the guests do support, some of the general public through memberships and on YouTube and all, they will support. This is the way it is. But if you are looking at the ecosystem, 99% of the guests, many of them, not 99, but a good percentage of them, they will just come and within that also there are many fly-by-night guests. They will come either on a book tour or any other tour, want to squeeze everything out of you, be very nice to you, and will not add any value to you. You be aware of that. Then you ensure that if it is, then you go for a commercial deal with such people. That listen, you are not welcome, but if you are wanting to squeeze me, then let me also get that value, because it is a platform they want to use. And if they want to use, it is like advertisement. Then you make sure that your platform is running even when they are gone. Rest, but declare it. Rest, you see, so many agencies, if you see, have come in. So many of them, podcast agencies, PR agencies. In an average, most of these guests on book tours or any other expertise, or they are paying between $200 to $600 per show to these agencies. Are these agencies helping the podcasts where they are deriving value for their guests in any way? No, they are not, very rarely. So where does it add value to the ecosystem? Sponsorships are not coming to podcast hosts, maybe 1 or 2% of the very top ones. But do you think all these podcasters are also taking the same guests who are also coming to you? No. That is why they are coming to you. So you have to also ensure that it's a level playing field. Make sure that you are earning money from some places who are wanting to squeeze you. Rest, add value to the experts, small businesses, people who are starting out, give them a chance. They will be very happy to come with you. They will be very, very, enthusiastic to join your show. Be there on time. Share your episode. Go to the town with that episode. These guys will not. They have already paid the money to these people, and they will want to derive that value to you. So you got to be smart. As I said, if you have the audience, they are coming to you. But you also have to be making sure, it's like self-care. Care for yourself first. That is very important. Otherwise, you will either burn out or you will be wiped out by the realities of our time.
Yeah, of course. Making sure that value is equal. I want to get to some practical advice as well around interview questions, because I know you obviously have expertise around there. And this is something a lot of podcasters struggle with, especially when they're thinking that maybe if they start an interview podcast, then it's going to be less work for them. Like they just sort of get someone on and let them do the talking and that's that. But I find a lot of interview podcasts, when they don't think about these questions that they're asking, it ends up with the guest not really understanding how to give value to the audience. And, certain guests, if they're not really good at telling their story, might go off on certain tangents and things. So how would you put together a question that makes sure that the guest is giving value to your audience, that, that it stays focused and things? What are sort of 2 or 3 tips for asking great questions?
Absolutely. Let me try and understand. Firstly, when you are a podcaster, try to be a learner. Don't learn for yourself. Think what your audience will try to learn. And nothing wrong in starting, understanding from the basics. You are not an expert. You are the medium between your audience and the guest. So do not try to think like an expert. Do not try to become an expert. Just try to become your audience. If you keep that in mind, that will be helpful for you. Secondly, you are not going to solve the problems of the world in your podcast. You do not have the burden of, bringing peace in the US, in the Ukraine and Russia war, or in the Middle East. It's one particular show. Focus on that particular show at that point in time. You already have some of the pointers there, but look at it whether this is what is that it interests you. And once it interests you, then you should just, your work does not start with getting a guest. Your work is every day. Whatever you are passionate about, you read some bits of things here and there and learn along the way. Don't try to read it, just that you have to go and read 5 books from a library. It will not, learnings do not happen that ways. So if you are, say, for example, if you are talking about healing, if you are talking about healing and the guest is an expert of healing, you know, and some people talk about trauma and then they talk about inner child, then they talk about childhood trauma. Okay. And at that point in time, you must also know that some people also talk about generational trauma. So if you know the connection between them, then you just, very smartly, very simply, you just ask them where to begin with. Should one begin healing their trauma from their childhood or from earlier generations? You have to understand. So sometimes, for a common person, it will become very confusing. That some people are telling me, I have got childhood trauma. Some people will say, you have generational trauma. So where do I begin? So in this whole process, you learn several things. You learn about childhood trauma also. You learn about generational trauma also. And then it will also bring the guest to understand themselves about their expertise. You will also get to understand the expertise of the guest. Then according to that, you will decide on the follow-up questions. If you know that the guest is there as a guest, a so-called expert, then you know you are not there to create problems for anyone, but you are there to get as much value from the guest. Some guests are very good at expressing what they know. Some guests are less. So don't try to ask them questions which you feel will be difficult for them. They may be knowing it, but some people are not so good at expressing it. But you will know that, okay, this is, and then they will come out with more and more expertise from whatever it is. If they have a framework, or if they say, okay, whatever there, then okay, let me bring it from the ground. Is ask them, okay, what sort of clients you get? Tell me from the ground, what sort of clients you get? Then they will know, okay. Then it becomes easier for them and relate. Then they will go to the ground. Okay, these are the type of clients you get. But what are their questions to you? Again, you see, you have got another level to them. Okay, these are the problems that their clients come with. Okay, how do you solve those clients' problems? Any unique problem that you faced. Why do they trust you? Why should they trust you? Why should the listeners trust you? Okay? This is the way you get deeper. And depending on your own expertise, depending on the guest's expertise, you dig deeper. Read their profiles carefully. Do not try to understand it. Do not try to become an expert out of it. But try to understand. If you read the profiles properly, within those profiles itself, you will find so many things, and which will give clue to one thing, to the other, to their expertise, from their education, from their own journey. Everything you will come around. After some time, you will become expert. The whole thing, you will run these things like a puppeteer, that show, that everything is running in your fingertips, and you will know, okay, but know what is it in the paper. Spend that piece of time on the piece of paper. I have my own way of doing this. You devise a way which is good for you. Not everyone will look at the same piece of paper or all the points same way. You think what is easiest. Make it the simplest way. Do not extend it beyond one page. The rest, your own knowledge should become your expertise. And then you will find that, you are pushing boundaries, more boundaries, more boundaries, and more boundaries, until you find that you have got 500 episodes and your episodes are becoming better and better, and people are engaging with you on a much more different level. So many things are there. Even the most drab sort of a topic, you can make it, make it one more example. Yesterday, one of my very senior guests, he's written a book on, overcoming overwhelm. So he has written, that 114 tactics to tackle overwhelm. So along the show itself, I just asked him 114 tactics to tackle overwhelm. Bob, isn't that in itself overwhelming? And he is laughing and enjoying this. This is how you establish a rapport with the guest. They know that you are challenging them for their own good and for opening up to the audience, and audience will like it. It cannot be made up. Do not make these things. Let your knowledge understand, chisel out your own expertise, and then this is how you will do that whole learning. Everywhere, there are opportunities for you. As I said, try to simplify as much, make it simplistic. Your life will become simplistic. Do not try to be an expert. All your burden will be off your head. Feel free to make mistakes. I make mistakes almost on every show, But then you don't have to tell the world about it, or there's no harm if the world knows about it. But they are not coming for your expertise. They are coming there to get that value from your show and audience. Along the way, you will become a trusted person, and you can earn your livelihood through this.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, like a few things that stood out to me there is around I love that question you asked about the overwhelm. So it's kind of challenging, but it's not trying to catch them out or anything. It's just, but also it's maybe asking them things that the listeners won't have heard them talk about on other podcasts. And then, I love that quote, become your audience. It's such a kind of simple thing, but yeah, that's something to remember for any interview podcaster. Become your audience rather than just being the host, the podcaster. That's great.
Absolutely. And never, ever, even if you have not gotten with the guest in any way along this whole process, never, ever try to make the guest look bad. Make them look the brightest person on earth in your episode. Okay, don't have them again if you have not been happy with their the coordination or any point or anything. But make them look the brightest because it is your platform. Okay, and that is, and never ask them question that can put them. And you see, mine is a live show. None of these shows are recorded. Most of and I have to trust my instinct every time. I do not have this pre-interviews also, nothing like that. So I've got just that few seconds, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds maybe to establish that rapport, create that thing. If you can't do it in 30 seconds, you will not be able to do it in 30 minutes, Joe, I can tell you after this much of experience. Okay? Know yourself, trust that, create that, manifest that. They will be the biggest, they are the biggest guest for you. A guest is a guest, and guest is equivalent to God. Treat them like that. Show them in their best of light, and you will shine the brightest. That's all I can say. Never look down on your guest. They may be very good guests, but they may not be as expressive of others. A lot of people are not from English language speaking background, but they are speaking in English. A lot of people are very expressive, but they may not be the best of expert. A lot of people. So you see, different combinations make what we humans are. Our job is to make sure that you bring out the best as much as possible.
I'm going to ask you a couple more questions, if that's all right, before we wrap up. I just want to, in case anyone's sort of wondering, just briefly go over your production schedule. How do you actually make this work? If you're doing 3 live episodes a day or more, with your other podcast as well, how do you sort of find the guests, and have you got a team that helps you do this? And then do the live episodes just go straight out, or is there some work done on them?
From the very beginning, if you are a podcast host starting out, or look at what is your strength, how much time it takes for you, and accordingly prepare. If you think you can do 2 shows properly in a day or in a week, only do that. Secondly, establish your schedule. From the very beginning, I decided that I will only work on or do my shows on 4 days a week. Midweek, Wednesday, from the very beginning, I have taken that break. 2 days work, 2 days. Now, you'll find it funny, but with an addition of shows, I have reduced 1 day. So I will just do live shows on Wednesday, or on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is a break, on Thursday, Friday is a break. So you see, if you look at your schedule, you will reduce your workload. Maybe a bit of workload more, but it will go on the 3 days, but you have reduced your workload. So you have to become smart in that way. How to do it? As I said, you should know how much time it takes to simplify your process. Do not try to become an expert. Your expertise is fine-tuning your podcasting skills. Understand a platform. Automate where things can be automated. Make sure that expertise you bring, if you think that I do, most of my shows are 15 to 20 minutes, but depending on the flow, because it's a live show, some guests, can take a bit of time, or sometime I want that whole thing to flow on. Sometimes it can move on to 25 minutes, sometimes to 30, 31, 32, and most of these shows are less than 25 minutes. And many a times the guests say, I never knew, that so much can be done in 20 minutes. That is possible. So try to be nice to yourself. Try to see. Do not go with an impression that a longer show will be better. In fact, YouTube will be kinder to you. If you are doing a less than 20-minute show, then it will immediately give you even the thumbnails, even the transcript, everything will become easy for you. Even your whole thing will become. So these are some of the things. Rest, as you become an expert, you can decide what works for you. Keep that buffer. Use any of these scheduling tools. Make it simpler. Some people I see, some of the hosts I see, their process becomes a bit more, less simple. Guests tell me, many guests have given reviews that your process is very simple. Make it as simple as possible. Whatever questions that you ask them within the questions that you are putting it either in any of the scheduling tools. There they will be able to answer. Make it as easy for them. It will make your life easy for you. And everyone will not be able to have a team. I too do not have. Most of the work, I do it. Only when some guests request, and if they support us, then I try to release at least the audio podcast much, much early, because I can outsource that much of work. If I have to do it, then again self-care comes in. I will do it whenever the timing is right. Okay, rest. If you are a serious guest, you will utilize the live link. The live has gone on YouTube, on many other platforms, Facebook also, LinkedIn also. Utilize that live link and utilize it for wherever you want to use it. If the guest is unnecessarily pressurizing you, that means they have their own way of looking at it. If the guest is asking for the video, then it means they are more concerned about the video for themselves. No real guest will wait for that video and cut out into shorts and reels and then only promote. If they want to promote it, they will use that live show link and promote it. It means then they are not bothered about you. Just you have to read and be smart. Reduce the work. Let the automation, let the tools do as much work for you. Create your boundaries. Create your, if you are not feeling good about it, not feeling good about the guest, feel free to take steps which are good for you and the show. This is how you save yourself from burnout. Also make sure that you have got the right kind of guests. Make sure that guests are not misusing you or the platform. Okay? They are supporting you. If they are just coming to squeeze you, save yourself from those sort of guests. Prioritize yourself and your show. These are some of the things I can say as of now. If there are any particular questions, then they can always write to me. I'm always there to help. Some things you cannot say it on the show.
Yeah, I'm sure that will hopefully get some of the listeners thinking, like, are there any little things that they can remove from their process or simplify, and then with those interview questions as well, thinking about how you can get that value out of your guest sort of more efficiently, and sort of, get straight to the point. And then finally, just to round things out, is there one thing in particular that you take from your journalism career that has helped you the most when it comes to creating a podcast?
Yes. I think the most important thing that comes naturally to not only me, most of the journalists, is the uh, concept of this accuracy, objectivity, and balance. Whenever you are doing anything, especially if you are doing a show, interview shows, you got to make sure that you are correct. You are making sure that whatever information you have got, that is accurate. At least things are objective, and you are also making sure that there is a balance. For example, a lot of guests in podcasts come with stories, and many of these stories, I've written a blog also on this. Many of these stories are also full of pain. Maybe it's a divorce, it's about narcissism, complaints about their spouses, ex-spouses, their families, everything else. But the thing is that you are getting only one part of the story, and you have to give them the mic also to speak. But you have to remember that there is also another part of the story which is not there, the other person who is not there. It should not become a platform where only one side of the story is reflected. Without interrupting your guest, you also, through your questions, ensure that balance and objectivity is there, so that the person about who it is mentioned about but not named, even if they see it, they feel that they have also been represented even when they were not there. This is what a lot of journalists, and everyone should understand that when you are doing shows which are going into the public, then your job is also to become a gatekeeper, a filter who is with everyone. You are also with the guest. You are also with the people about whom the story is. Let it not be a one-sided story. Then your platform is not being used. It can also be misused, and it is your responsibility as a host to ensure that your platform is a platform for everyone, either as a guest or as a listener, or someone who is part of that story being told from only one angle, one perspective.
Thank you. Yeah, that's really something that a lot of podcasters can start thinking about: accuracy, objectivity, and balance, coming from that journalistic expertise. That makes sense. Well, I really appreciate your insight on this. This is, an angle that we haven't looked at all, and a lot of people sort of, I think, are going to get a lot of value out of this. AJ, is there anywhere you'd like to send people where they can find out more, or if you'd just like to send people to your podcast if they want to see this in action?
Yeah. So they can, if they want to watch or listen, then they can always go to the KAJ Masterclass YouTube channel. And if they want to connect me, I think the best way is for them through LinkedIn, because this is one of my most go-to platforms. I can see messages, the notifications are clear, I can immediately come to know, I can respond. So you can write there if you want to, and there if there is anything. And rest for watching or seeing, the YouTube channel is there, then the podcasts are also there. It's all there. KAJ Masterclass, that's the name.
Awesome. Thank you. And then, we always put the LinkedIn and the podcast links into the show notes, so you can easily find AJ there. Well, thank you again. And look forward to speaking to you again at some point.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks for listening to Podcasting Amplified. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. We'll be back next time with another conversation offering more insights to take your podcast to the next level and help you to achieve success. Happy podcasting.